Okay, people, welcome back. I think people are joining. Some of you might have joined already. So Mahmood, I think you want to look at the link. No worries, I'm going to share that. Just hold on. So yeah, there are actually 4 links that I sent out. Oh, 1 second. I'm just giving you the links. Give me a moment, everyone. I'm just getting ready to come back to all of you. For develop project charter and develop projects management plan, then direct and manage project work, and now the 4th process is manage project knowledge. So we're going to spend another maybe 45 minutes or so on these processes and some quiz questions. So we need another 1 hour to finish this chapter. So that's the plan now. So the first topic is the managing the project's knowledge. It is an executing process in integration management. And the question to all of you is, how can knowledge be managed? And what is the meaning of this knowledge management? What are we trying to do really in knowledge management? Why is it required? What could be the benefits? And what are the various mechanisms or ways in which we can manage knowledge? So let me also write it down in a notebook so that we can think on those lines. Yeah, these are the 2 questions. What is the benefit of knowledge management? Why is it done? What methods are possible for managing knowledge? These are the 2 questions. So please try this, and afterwards we'll go into the process diagram. Okay, here we are with some of your inputs. Okay, Shahid, thank you. You mentioned faster decision making and fast problem solving. Yes, if you have the knowledge captured in some document, like a process document or something, then it helps in faster decision making and problem solving. There is awareness of information, awareness of facts. And you also mentioned that it will meet the project objectives. Yes, it will make the project more likely to be successful when we manage knowledge. And Boma, thank you also. You have mentioned creating knowledge sharing sessions, documents, lessons learned document. Definitely, yes. These are the ideal ways to capture knowledge by having knowledge sharing sessions like meetings, people talking about their experiences. And very good. And lessons learned register. In fact, the lessons learned register is created in this process only for the first time in managing knowledge process, manage knowledge. Huh? And Sudarshan has said there are benefits of utilizing available knowledge and to reduce training expenses. Yeah, that's another good one. Why can't we reuse the knowledge if it is already available? People can gain from the available knowledge in the repository somewhere. Mahmood has said continuous improvement. Yeah, that's an important one. In fact, learning is a culture in organizations which continuously improve. It's a culture there. And Sudarshan also has mentioned methods could be competency matrix, SFIA framework. Yeah, in fact, we could have a competency table of people, different levels of skills and competencies and their definitions. That's a good approach. And the SFIA framework is also another good one. It is the skills framework for the information age. If you actually go to sfia.org.uk, I'll show it to you afterwards. You can actually see, particularly for the IT side, yeah, what kind of information skills are required for the modern age. So those are some good methods. And Syed has mentioned, Syed Moinuddin, thank you, to prevent catastrophes. Yeah, we might have some good plans in place, good records in place, which we can look at during crisis times, or can prevent a crisis. Okay, wonderful. I think those are good. Thank you. And let's look at what PMI is telling us. So first of all, PMI tells us that there are two types of knowledge. One is explicit, which is codified, meaning it can be documented. When a person is talking, it is not documented. It is just sharing of experience. So anything which is documented or codified into words, images, is known as explicit knowledge. For example, process documents, standard operating procedures, run books, those are all explicit knowledge. On the other hand, when people are sharing their experience, when they find it difficult to express, particularly in a document, but they may be able to, let's say an employee is having some difficulty performing a task, even though it is well documented. If you go to the expert, they know exactly how to do it in different situations. So that's what is known as tacit knowledge. So it comes from experience and from expertise. And therefore, we cannot actually document everything into a Word document, for example. Step 1, step 2, step 3, yeah, how to estimate duration. This is the first step, this is the second step. But if you look at experts, they can talk about it. Though they will talk about step 1, step 2, step 3, they also will give their experience. So that is known as tacit knowledge. So both are important. And knowledge management is therefore reusing as well as creating new knowledge. It's not just documentation or just lessons learned, but also tacit knowledge, right? Which is sharing of experiences. So when you use lessons learned and documents, it is explicit knowledge. Therefore, it is not good for different situations. It's very generalized. The context means situation. So it lacks the situational guidance. It's a very generic guidance. On the other hand, tacit knowledge is good for each situation, but it's difficult to express or document. So only the experts know in their brains, in their minds, how to do it. And you might have seen sometimes people are reluctant to share knowledge. Why do you think it is so? Why do people think that they will not share the knowledge? And what can you do about it? That's this point. Yeah, so that's think about that as well. People might be, thinking, if I share my knowledge, then I will lose the opportunities. Other person may gain from that knowledge, yeah, instead of me. So those things can happen. So therefore, there should be a good team spirit. People should be able to collaborate each other properly. They should trust each other. It is not that the employee is trusting the project manager and vice versa, but every employee should trust each other in the team. That's known as trust within the team. So that they know that the knowledge will not be misused for taking credit by another person. So therefore, it's a key leadership quality. As a project manager, one of your leadership qualities is to build trust among the team members, yeah, by team building and all that. So that way, it's a very simple process. It's a quick process, and it has two types of tools. It's got tools for interaction of people. Even though this process is called managed project knowledge, but one of the tools and techniques is known as knowledge management, and the other tool and technique is known as information management. So the difference is knowledge management is for people interaction, people connection, whereas information management is for documenting something. So let me actually ask you another question on this. I will show you the ITTO diagram for this. Meanwhile, I've got an input from Shahid as well. Empowering others with that knowledge means they are less essential. So, empowering others with that knowledge means that they are less essential. Okay. Yeah. On one hand, when we capture knowledge, we are transferring the burden from the people to documents. At the same time, we are obtaining the good knowledge from them and capturing them. We can still have them and ask them to talk about their experiences. Yeah. So we're not really removing the people there. And the question here for all of you, if you look at this diagram, is please think about examples of knowledge management techniques versus information management technique. These are the two main things in this diagram. And as I was telling you, knowledge management technique is how people can be together. What are the examples of people connecting to each other versus what are the examples of people documenting something? Just as an example, creating a lessons learned register is information management. Anything which is hard fact document is information management. Anything which is discussion is knowledge management. So can you think of some discussion examples, knowledge management? I mean, different ways. For example, a meeting, a training. The meetings, trainings are actually knowledge management examples, whereas lessons learned register is information management examples. So on that line, please think. Is it connecting people or is it documenting information? And that's the question. And just to, in case I do, yeah. So Shadab, thank you. Connecting people. Yes, knowledge management is about connecting people through a seminar like this one. What we are doing right now is knowledge management. There is some connection between us, though not the ideal connection we would like to have, but this is more like a online limited connection, but still it is a connection. So that is knowledge management. On the other hand, if we just email you, when I'm sending you the links, please go through the links, then it is information management because you're relying on a documented information. This presentation here is part of information management. But what I'm speaking and explaining is knowledge management. When you're giving me answers to my questions and giving feedback, that is knowledge management. Yeah? So let's look at some more examples there. And I will come back to this slide again. And I have some questions. Venkatesh has a question. Is bidders conference treated as knowledge management? Bidders conference, that is in procurement. When we ask suppliers to participate in a meeting, and when the buyer is sharing the statement of work and the request for proposal in that meeting. In that, they're actually not capturing any knowledge. They're actually only raising questions on an existing SOW. So maybe that's not a real knowledge management example, because now they're not documenting anything new out there. But when the bidders go back from the conference, when they go back to their environments and they do their homework, and when they create a proposal which has information in it, then it is maybe knowledge management, information management, sorry. And when they present it verbally, then it is knowledge management. That's how we can treat that. And Mahmood has a comment there. Information management is based on factual data, which can be documented for future reference in learning. Of course, yes, perfect. And also one more thing, bidders conference, as Mahmood said, it's information management which is required for auditing. Yes, so it's as I said, it is information management, but any verbal discussions will be part of knowledge management. Even though both of them are coming under the knowledge process only. So. And there's a question there from Shahid that can we say information management is external, knowledge management is internal? Not really so. Knowledge management basically connects people. So it could connect the customer to the project manager. Then it is knowledge management. Yeah? So it could be, both of them could be internal or external. So let me show you the slide and that'll be good. Knowledge management. This is to connect people for creating, sharing and integrating new knowledge. Well suited for tacit meaning spoken, where people can give a lecture. I've sometimes had, when I worked for the UBS bank, I was part of the IT systems, the IT department, but we didn't know anything about the investment banking operations. So I would call a person from the investment bank and ask them, can you explain to us how you are using our systems? So they would come and give us a lecture that this is how we are using your systems. So, so they're expressing their knowledge in verbal form, which cannot be really documented. So networking with people, communities of people, technical exchange communities, technical forums, one person watching another person doing a job, work shadowing, that is. If a trainee employee is watching another employee doing the work, yeah, so they're actually watching other people. They're not really reading documents. Having workshops like in a classroom, storytelling, knowledge fairs, knowledge cafe, knowledge kiosk, yeah, knowledge exhibition, discussions, forums, meetings, trainings, seminars, conferences. These are all knowledge management. And look at information management. This is more for explicit knowledge, not tacit knowledge. Lessons learned, libraries, books, online articles, the project repository, the web search, searching the web for articles. Yeah, those are information management techniques. So I hope with that it's more clear. Yeah. So simple concept, and just to understand that, that's all. Nothing complicated as you have seen it. And what else can we do here? Let's take a look at the diagram again. So we have shown only the lessons learned register as an output, but there could be a lot more things here. There could be meetings, trainings, discussions, which cannot be really written down, but they're also part of the outputs. Knowledge articles, yeah, all that. And the two techniques we have covered. And the inputs would be, actually you can remove these deliverables. They're actually, the PMI has done a correction to the ITTO diagram. And in that they have removed these deliverables as an input. But it's like, learning from defective deliverables, I would say. If there are defects in deliverables, we can learn a lot from them. That's why it can still be valid. And there should be a knowledge management plan that will be helpful as an input. And lessons learned is created here. Afterwards, it becomes an input because it's again this is not done only once. It is an ongoing. During the replanning or during execution, during monitoring, controlling, we'll continue to manage knowledge. And at the closure of the project, we will consolidate and summarize all the knowledge, all the lessons. Therefore, it's an input here. We'll look at all these things afterwards. If something is important, I will highlight that. Actually, some soft skills required here for doing this. Leadership is required. As I was telling you, building the trust. So let's look at these things: active listening, facilitation, workshops, networking, political awareness. So I think we know the facilitation workshop, we know the networking aspect. So let's look at the other things. Excuse me.